Alrighty, start of a new week. Big box of parts. Still missing a couple, but I have enough to get started, which is good. We're still on the path of getting a battery in this car. So, in this big box of parts, I have a few things. Check this out. This is that catch can that I got. Pretty cool. Like I was saying, kind of battery size-ish, and so it'll fit down in the car right here next to the radiator. I think that'll look pretty cool. I'll show you what that looks like later when we go to install that. So, thought that was pretty neat. Glad that turned out well. This is the battery tray that I was talking about. Let me see if I got a cutting device. Hang on. There we go. Almost got my finger. Got a little bit of cold, as normal. It's a life of living with a 2-year-old. Gonna be 3 in August. It's pretty cool. Don't know what we're gonna do for his birthday yet, but figure it out. Being that my wife's pregnant with twins, it makes throwing birthday parties a little bit harder. But okay, back to the car here. This plate, and then you have these 2 fingers, which I gotta liberate from the plastic. 1 second. Close the knife so I don't cut my fingers off again. There we go. And so what you get is, for an Optima battery, and then this thing here is gonna go like that, I believe. That bolts down, and the Optimas, they have the little, the tank looking pieces, and that's gonna hold the battery in. Reason I like this kit over the other kits, the other kits were a base plate, and then your standard hold downs that come up with a big billet aluminum top that was molded to the top of the Optima battery. I didn't like that because when you put your terminals on, you're so close to the terminal. I thought, man, big pothole and battery jars and sparks fly, and your really nice 68 Camaro catches on fire. So I went for this option instead. I think that'll look really cool. More to the point, it'll work really cool. I think it'll work real well. A couple other parts I got in here. Got about a couple of these. These are those Moroso battery terminal connectors I was talking about. And so you got a couple big lugs, small lugs. There's even 1 or 2 on the sides to distribute power. That way you don't have your classic stacking 5 wires on the little bolt that holds the clamper together. Don't need any of that. These work really well. Again, I used them on my 65 hardtop. They're really awesome. Not very expensive either, being that they're Moroso, but definitely worth the little bit of money that they cost. Moving on, let's see, got these from Painless. Grounding straps. Grounding straps, extremely important, especially whenever you're talking about a computerized engine. The motor really wants to be grounded, so does the body. Very important. This does have a couple bonding straps, body straps, grounding straps, whatever you want to call them. underneath from the subframe connector. I don't know if you remember right there where the trans mount was, to the actual body, a couple of these small ones. That's great, but we still need to ground the engine. Underneath the car, if you remember back when we were doing the exhaust on the passenger side, it actually has a terminal into the subframe that loops with a battery cable that loops around, going to one of the bell housing bolts. Still going to utilize that. I like that. However, I'm going to add to it, and so what I'm going to do is that negative cable, the way they had it originally in the car was the battery was mounted in the back. They jumped the negative cable right to the frame of the car and was actually using the frame of the car to distribute the negative throughout the vehicle. Now on a carbureted classic pushrod 350 like what was in here, that's acceptable. You get away with that. Even though I don't really like it, it still works. You can get away with it. But like I said, whenever you start to go fuel injection, computerized, computer controlled, all that kind of stuff, the ground is extremely important, as much so as the positive terminal. So moving forward, I'm going to actually bring that negative battery terminal or cable right up, and I'm going to terminate it right where that one is there. So those two will actually stack on each other. So not only is the frame of the car getting grounded extremely well, you'll also have that jumper going over and hitting the motor. It's almost like the motor's directly connected to the battery, like you would want it to be, and the way you find most cars. I picked this up just because it was fairly inexpensive, and it gives me options for grounding as well. I still would like to put a grounding strap from bell housing bolt to the body of the car. Even though the subframe and the body are both welded and connected, I still want to have the motor going to the body. It'll be somewhere in the back there behind the intake manifold where you would normally find a grounding strap. Moving on here. So we're in the wiring stage, obviously, and like I was showing you guys on the whiteboard in there, with me drawing my very rudimentary wiring schematic for the car. I started to go through on my brakes and stuff from moving all this stuff around, and figuring out, okay, what am I going to put in this car? What electronics do I need? What electronics do I want? What things, because I'm essentially building the entire wiring harness by hand for this car. So I want to think about what I need and what I want to modify now, instead of putting a part together and then taking it back apart to add more to get to the final product that I'm looking for. I'd rather gather all of the items that I want, all the items I need, everything that I need to modify and build for this car, and then build it all at once. So with that thought in mind, I know I want keyless entry. I have a couple different options for keyless entry. I even have a push button start option, because a long time ago when I ordered a bunch of parts for this car, I thought, hey, that'd be kind of cool. Push button start instead of having to put a key in it. Since then, I have kind of given that a second thought, because I don't want to take away too much of the classic car from this. And honestly, putting the key in and turning it, it's not that big of a deal. And it still gives you that classic car feel. If I were to put the push button start in there, I'm not trying to go, I don't know. I'm trying to have a good balance of new and old technology and classic. And I feel like maybe that push button starts just a little bit too much. So I also have another just simple keyless entry remote. It does have all the other features to it, like start inhibitor and it kills power to the computer unless it's sees the key or whatever. I'm going to hook up some of that, I'll hook up the running lights to flash when you lock or unlock it, so that way you know from a distance you've locked or unlocked the car. There'll be no horn, there'll be no siren, there'll be nothing like that. I will use some of the theft protection just to help, obviously to help keep the car safe, make it harder to steal. And then having that keyless entry where you just hit the button and the door locks lock or unlock, I think is really kind of convenient, especially for this car. Putting the key in and hitting that lock cylinder. It's a good sized lock cylinder, but you miss, you hit the paint. Hopefully you don't do that. Hopefully you're careful, but it does happen. So one of the things I picked up was a keyless entry system, like I said, with all of the little bits and pieces. But then they also make a bracket that goes into the doors to hold the locking, whatever they called it. I can't think right now. Got cough medicine head. The little solenoid that unlocks and locks the doors, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And so I thought that was kind of neat. You don't got to try and cobble something together. They give you a nice little bracket, custom made for this car. And then you just mount everything up and it works real nice. There's nothing to rattle, nothing to go wrong. And it keeps the inside of the door. Now, one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to put any kind of switch or anything on the inside of the car for you to unlock or lock the doors. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing electric windows in this car. It's still going to have the crank them up windows and the manual lock and unlock from the inside of the vehicle. Again, trying to keep that balance of new and old without putting too much technology into this beautiful classic car. So I gathered that. Got that. They're just brackets. I was going to show you. I don't know exactly how they go in yet. They're wrapped up. They look like a little, those tin roofs you put on, your shed. It's kind of what they look like. So they bolt in the car somehow. Don't know how. And they come with a little rod and stuff, and instructions on how to put it in the car. So like I was saying, it is important when you're building the harness to go through and figure all these things out. This is the keyless entry, I believe. Yeah, I liked this one because it did come with the what do they call these things? Lock actuator. There you go. It came with the actuators, which I thought was kind of neat. It also came with those, which I thought was really cool, because that's another problem to try and solve, is the wires that come from the body that go to the door. I love that these are small, and they're kind of inconspicuous, which is nice. So another thing to think about when I do all this is it requires relays. So I'm starting to put together a list of all of the relays that I need for this car, and then basically what it's going to be is right up underneath the hood over here somewhere. I'm going to put I have a relay box that's fused, has relays, has all the things, because remember, I need two relays for the fans, I need 2 relays for the door locks, and I need 2 relays for, the other thing, headlights. I actually went and one of the things the owner wanted when we first got this car was an upgrade on the headlights. As we all know, the headlights that came from the 60s, they're not very bright, especially nowadays when you're driving around and you've got these people with these bright headlights just blinding you, to not be able to see, at night. And again, this car was going to get driven. He wanted an upgrade to the headlights. He wanted some kind of projector beam, cat eye kind of light. Honestly, again, having that balance between new and old, I didn't want to go to the projector beam. I couldn't find one that actually looked good, to be honest with you. So what I ended up doing was I found a halo headlight made by Oracle. They had all kinds of different colors for the halo that went around it. White, yellow, red, blue, green, purple, whatever. I just went for white. Not trying to get a ticket. The other one I thought would be kind of cool would be yellow, but I thought, you know what, the white would be a little bit less, I don't know, less in your face. I don't know, more, it would blend in a little bit better. Not trying to be so stand out with the headlights, just want to get a little bit more light out of them, make the car more enjoyable to drive at night. Now those Oracle lights, they take an H4 bulb. So what I did was I went to and looked around and then found that Oracle actually made a H4 LED, and I thought, okay, that's a good direction to go in. Whenever you're talking about headlights and that kind of stuff, changing bulbs and doing all these other things, you got to remember that even the headlights on the car is engineered. The headlight is engineered for the bulb that's actually going to be in it. How long does the bulb stick into the light to hit the little dish piece to come back and hit the rest of the light? All of those things matter. That's why when you change from one light bulb to another light bulb, you'll see a difference in the brightness or the style of the light or anything else. And I figured that if I went with the same company that made the headlight, also made the bulb, in my mind, I'm seeing that they engineered this headlight while using that bulb, because it's their bulb. Why wouldn't they engineer the headlight with some other brand bulb? They'd use their own. So I figured if I got those two together, I would be it would have the best look, the best performance that I could get actually out of that light. So that's what I did. So that means that I need to put 2 more relays into this car for the headlights. I do think that the wiring for the headlights is acceptable as far as the gauge and stuff goes. Going through and looking at a lot of the electrical options like painless, it was like a jumper attachment, and then you went ahead and you ran a power wire from their relay to the battery. It gives it a stronger battery, a positive draw, which will help the light out a lot more. If you don't do that and you run through your basic wiring that goes into the car, again, the wire itself is an acceptable gauge, but it runs down, goes in the car, it goes into the distribution block there underneath the dashboard that the rest of the car is actually using for power as well. So you get into a draw type situation. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be adequate? And what you can get into a lot is flickering. Especially with LED, if it doesn't have the right amount of power available to it. So they recommend using a relay system and drawing power straight from the battery. So there's 2 more relays. So that's 6 relays right there that I need to put into the car. Now, one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to just take and mount these relays all over the place in weird spots on the car. That's kind of an afterthought. Right now in building the harness, I have the ability to actually consolidate all of these into one box. I think I've showed you guys the box before. It's around here somewhere. I did find, I did kind of organize tools and supplies and that kind of stuff. I got a lot of it out and spent quite a few days getting that out, because 2 hours to find tools is just not going to work. It is here somewhere. I know it's over there on the shelf over there, but I'll find it. But it's a box, a relay box. You open it up, it's got I think it has 6 relays in it, and then it has fuses for each. And then basically what I'm going to do with that is I have a bus bar. Now you can buy these power distribution bars off Summit. I've bought a couple of them. I got a handful of them in different sizes, where you got one that's just 2 lugs, or you've got 4 lugs or 6 lugs or whatever it is, meaning that you've got one battery cable, again coming off the battery, going right to this distribution plate like you would find in your relay box in your house, kind of something like that. And then it's got all these little screws in it, so you can again put all of your attachments on what you need to run off of that bus bar right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like probably a 4 or 6, whatever fits well, and mount it to actually the back of that relay box. And then that way all of the main power is going to come right off the battery powering that bar, and then all of those relays will have a direct link straight to the battery. Beyond that, from the relays, I can use the same wires that came with the car to power the lights. It'll all be just done a lot more compact, and it'll fit the vehicle a lot better. It won't look as afterthought as just mounting a bunch of these all over the car. Yes, that does mean that I do have to run a little bit more wiring to put all of the relays in one place, but it's worth the time and the effort for how clean it'll actually come out. It'll be very nice to have everything consolidated into one box that you can just go and get into to test fuses or test relays or change fuses. But especially for the doors, if I'm going to put the relay box out here underneath the hood, that means those wires are going to have to come all the way out and then go all the way back to each door. But again, it's worth it to run the little bit of extra wire to have everything just, nicely packaged within the car instead of just having random relays bolted all over the place. Because in the end, when I'm done with this car, I'm going to sit down and build and draw out a wiring schematic that will help me in the future, but more importantly will help the next guy and the next owner work on this car, because right now I believe it has a painless harness in it, but I can't really verify that for sure. But the one thing I do know for sure is that the harness that's in this car is not a 1968 Camaro wiring harness, because I have the wiring schematic for a 1968 Camaro and nothing matches. So this has got some aftermarket painless harness in there. Anyways, so that's a lot of talking. It's a lot of showing you parts that I got. Let's jump into the back of the car and get this plate mounted, get the battery sat in there, get some terminals on it. Hopefully by then the delivery truck shows up and drops off wire, and then we can continue to wire the car, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. All right guys, let's get to the back. Tell you, my throat is struggling here. We'll get through it though. Got a couple things to pay attention to here in the back. If you remember when we did the fuel tank, got all the wires for the fuel tank right here. So I want to make sure that I don't accidentally stick those underneath the carpet. Well, I mean, I guess I could always dig them out, but now there are a couple terminals coming through the trunk here where the old battery was. And if you look here, you can see the spot where they had put the battery. My plan is to actually put the battery up here, right behind the wheel tub. It's a much better place. Not sure exactly why they put it down here. Now the aluminum box that they had in it did stick up a little bit higher. And again, we're not using something like that. We're just using that bolt, that hold down. Let me grab that real quick. Alright, got all the little parts and pieces here. So this, my plan is to mount it right here. Now of course one of the things I want to do is verify that the battery will actually fit in the trunk right here before we go going through all of this effort to actually put that there. I want to make sure that the battery will actually fit there. So let me go grab that real quick. All right. I wasn't thinking when I bought the battery, I bought it off of Summit. The price was not too bad. Again, it's an Optima, so they're not cheap. But I didn't think about how it would actually get here. But kind of makes sense that they would put it in a nice box with all of its little bits and pieces. So let's see. Oh yeah, that's gonna fit good. Yeah, right there. Yeah, see, that is much better. I can actually tuck it in there a little bit. if I want. How far back before it drops? I need to take a look. Oh, the Camaro actually goes all the way to the quarter. Huh. Shows you how much I know about Camaros. Well, that looks significantly better than the where they had it over here. This big aluminum box. Took up a majority of the trunk right there. Kind of left you in a weird situation where, if your wife wanted to go to the mall and pick up some stuff, it makes the spot a little bit harder to put all your stuff in. So this kind of opens it up, gives you the trunk back. Looks like I have some stuff in there. Gives you the trunk back, and it still puts the battery in a nice safe position. It's got plenty of distance around all of the metal bits, so you don't have to worry about it grounding out. I did go ahead and pick up the top post and side post, because you never know, kind of thing, is what I was thinking. And this is what I was saying about that. That's how it holds it down. So it's got a lot of hold down capability for the battery down low, which I like. Again, if you had that big aluminum plate up here, you could possibly ground out to that plate. I just didn't like it. Shorts are never good. So now what we need to do is get into all of this and see what goes where, what attaches to where, what powers what, and what things we need to remove and what things we need to keep. But for now, I'll let you guys go while I clear out the carpet in the trunk and get ready to mount this end. All right, guys, be right back with you. All right, so we got the holes drilled for this doohickey. What I decided to go with is my favorite thing to use, and of course, if you've watched this channel, you know it's riv nuts. The reason I chose riv nuts is because with 6 of these things, that's going to be plenty strong to hold that battery down. Second reason I chose riv nuts, the 3 screws here on that outer edge are actually in the frame channel, so there's no way to actually get a nut to those. And the third reason is because ease of use. If you want to remove this thing to get the carpet out or something like that, you don't got to go underneath or have your buddy hold the wrench or do any. No, it's all right here. So main reason I like using these. And then what I'm going to do, what I had planned to do, was use some seam sealer around the rib nut and rib nut it in. However, I cannot find my seam sealer. I have like 6 tubes of it somewhere, and I cannot find it anywhere. So yay, I love playing that game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use some silicone, which is fine. Works similar. The reason I like using seam sealer over silicone, seam sealer is a little, it ages better. It won't shrink and crack and degrade as quickly as silicone will. But I think with this, with the silicone being trapped in the crush, I think it'll be fine. Basically what you're trying to do is, one, seal the trunk so the trunk doesn't have any problems with moisture coming up or that kind of stuff getting through. The other reason is I don't want to rust. So drilling through, I can see some of the original metal underneath has got some slight rust to it, especially drilling down here into the frame channel. I can see there was some rust, and especially that one right there. I was trying to locate it to where these 3 holes here on the outside were actually in the frame channel, all lined up, so I didn't have to fight the edge of the frame channel. However, when I did that, it kind of threw a couple of the others slightly off, so we'll see how well these little doohickeys go in. So let me grab, I want to get some rust converter and just kind of spray down in these holes in the frame channel just to help it. I mean, I'm here, it's a small access port. Is it really going to help anything? You know, I don't know. It's up to you to decide. But hey, I'm here. I can see a little bit of rust down there. Let me spray it in there. Now, odds are when I put the independent rear suspension in this car, all those frame channels are going to be removed anyways. Again, I don't know yet. I need to look at the instructions. But based on how that looks and based on how this looks, yeah, it looks like you remove the frame channels, weld that in place. However, for now, let's just do some rust treatment. So I'm going to grab some of that. I'm going to grab some silicone. We're going to get these put in, and then we'll bolt this thing down. Make sure that it works well. Once I know it works well, everything's fine, then I can go ahead and start running the wires. I'm going to leave the carpet out for now. After I've run the battery cables, then I can go ahead and put the trunk mat back in, burn holes where these are, melt them real nice. Great way to put holes through carpet, and then bolt this thing down for good for the last time. But for now, let's get this sealed up. One of the things I noticed with this rust barrier, seals corrosion. I know there's another one, rust converter. This is what I have now. So I noticed with this stuff though, a little ball inside there likes to get stuck. So whatever's in there is definitely sticky. I want to get a rag. There we go. Grab this one. Okay. Again, just trying to put a little bit of protectant on the metal parts. This will also kind of seal up the hole where I cut. So there's that too. And I'm just going to kind of wipe this up. There we go. I'll spray in a little where the battery terminals were. You can see somebody was in here when they did the trunk in this car. And as I was drilling, I was seeing Bondo. So that's awesome. Because that's what you should do, Bondo a trunk. So it's most likely this trunk is rotted out. I don't know, from the underneath it looked fine though. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know why you'd put Bondo on the inside. I know I was getting a lot of rust when I was drilling these holes, so maybe over here it just had a little bit of rust. I don't know. And they were just wanting to smooth it out so that it didn't look all pitted. Yeah. Doesn't matter as long as it's clean and it works good. I haven't used this can yet. This is 1 minute. Do I have another one? Let me see if I have another one of those in the toolbox. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, found it. Was in the toolbox. You gotta be careful with this stuff. Super, super, super expensive. Like, retardedly expensive. All because it's in a Cheese Whiz can. You know? Makes it really easy to use. But, I mean, this stuff's like $25, $30 a can. I can't see it costing that much. There's no way. Especially when you can go buy a tube of Ultra Black. Probably get just as much. And what, it costs you $4 or $5? I don't know. Okay. Let's, I need the rivet tool. Let me grab that. Okay. Sure this is all the way down. And then, oh, let me make sure I can actually get this stupid rivet tool in here. That ain't gonna work. Maybe like that. Might be able to get that one. Yeah, I can get that one. With those in there, I'm definitely not gonna be able to get. Alright, let me get the hand squeezer. I'm gonna have to use that one. This one's just too big. When you're doing open work, you know, like an engine bay with no engine in it, you know, that kind of stuff, that one's great. This one is a lot harder to use, obviously, because of, you know, instead of you going like this, you have to like that. So you gotta have that Arnold Schwarzenegger grip, you know. But I haven't really had much issue using it. This one's just easier to use. Switch these mandrels around. There we go. Thread this on there. There we go. Okay. Alright. Thread it on here. Just want to make sure it goes all the way through. So you're grabbing all the threads, that way you're not stretching apart other threads. Gotta twist this kind of open a little bit. Alright. Well, maybe I didn't clear it out all the way. Oh, there it goes. Just had to get the primer. Oh yeah, it's got a booger on the end of it. Big old booger. Didn't quite get all the dried stuff out of it. It's alright. You just kind of stick this thing on here like your you know, silicone valve cover. Goobing on there. Dang it. It's turning. There it goes. Alright. You don't gotta worry about how it looks. Basically, you want to globule it up as much as possible. That way, when it goes down, it just oozes out all over. And will help seal. Let's see if we can get this to work. Back it off a little bit. I'll tell you, it is hot out here today. I had to resort to getting the big fan out. That's what you hear in the background if you hear a noise like I'm flying in an airplane. It's because I got the giganto fan out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to wipe this with the rag because I don't want to wipe all of it away. You know, just kind of wipe it up like your silicone and a valve cover. Again, I would have liked to have used the seam sealer, but I think this stuff will be just fine. So, let me get another one out. Thread that on there. The reason I don't like to thread it all the way down is because, especially with the hand unit, you can't get that. You need the leverage side of it, so you need that rock over point in the tool. So if you thread it all the way down, your hand will be at its most extended, and then you won't be able to get a good, you know, bite on it. And then you can always, you know, bite a little bit, twist it, bite a little bit, twist it. That's what I was doing. So stick this in there. There we go. Twist it, and then bite it again, and twist it. Basically, you want to get it to where right there. It doesn't move anymore. Once it doesn't move anymore, you know, that's it. You don't got to go anymore. Come on. This one's bound up or something. It's weird. Mandrel looks okay. Acted like it bent the mandrel, but I mean, with the hand one, it's kind of hard to bend the mandrel. I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger over here. Anyways, that's the process. In case you were wondering, for making this happen. So I'm just gonna finish these up real quick, and then we'll get back in here and bolt the tray in and see where we're at. Alright guys, give me a minute. Alright, got all that finished up. Gave it a couple minutes to let the silicone just kind of tack up, because I don't want it to stick to that base. Just get all these nuts and bolts and stuff out of there. Oh, gotta go find me an Allen wrench. Be right back. So I hope that fan doesn't bother the audio too much. I gotta have that thing on tornado mode, otherwise it's like trying to work on the sun in here. So I tried to turn it down for filming, but it gets so hot. Yeah, a couple of these are a little bit off. We'll see how this works. Got a new camera and a new tripod there. Trying to get you guys some better views. So this one's got like a little arm that sticks out. Kind of get the camera closer, you know. Trying to do what I can to give you guys the best content, best view. Now that one was a little bit off, I gotta tell you. A little bit off. The other three should go okay, I think. Let's see if we can cross thread this. What happened? Definitely didn't like that. Now that one was, I guess, just a little bit too off. The other three look okay though. Use one of these others so I don't mess up the. Take that off there. Like that. 5 out of 6 ain't bad. Well, I don't want to speak too soon because I don't know if I get all these in here. Okay, yeah. 5 out of 6. Let me loosen this one up a bit. Loosen that one up a bit. It is right on the edge of that. If I wobbled that just slightly, I can get that to go in there. I set the plate down and did the whole, you know, marker with a marker. Doesn't always work out. Let's see. Maybe I can get it. That's going a little straighter, right? She wants to fight. Yeah, she don't want to go. I don't want to force it too much because, you know, oh, I think I already gnarled the threads up a bit. Did I? Oh, yeah. Well, you shouldn't jam stuff in there. Let me see if I can wobble that hole out a bit. I think 5 out of 6. I could get away with that, but if I can jam that. Well, if I did that, that would stick up, and then that would ride into the battery. Yeah, I think I'm going to skip that one. I might come back later and re-mill this plate because these are recessed bolts so that when the battery goes in, these don't sit there and chew on the battery, you know. So if I were to just kind of wobble that one out, it wouldn't set down in the recess very well. And then it would probably end up just digging into the battery and causing a hole in the bottom of the battery, which, you know, that ain't good. Especially these batteries are getting expensive. I'm telling you. $265 or something for an Optima? That ain't cool. All of these are just slightly off. Probably a good reason why you shouldn't use riv nuts. It's alright, I got the solution for that. Just gonna set this on Ugga Dugga 2. See what happens. Oh yeah. Nice. Oh, I gotta take the extension off. There we go. Oh yeah. There we go. That's good. So what I'll probably end up doing, that's out there pretty far. I might just fill that one. 5 out of 6. Yeah. What's that? Like 90% maybe? Sure. Call it that. Alright. Set this thing in here. There we go. Ooh. Discovered another possible issue. Getting this back claw foot on is going to be a little bit of a chore. Yeah, I think I'll get it though. Let's see. Just got to do what's going on back there? Alright. I figure if I just contorted my body in the right way, of course with the battery not there, just slips right in. No big deal. Yep. That makes sense. Lift that up a little bit. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Alright. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah, that ain't bad. And see how nicer that looks? You know? So much nicer. And then I love the Optimus because you can just, you know, take the go handle off, store that in your little cubby hole, and it looks all nice and clean. Let me get you guys in here a little closer. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. What do you think? And then if you look here, you can see where the old battery terminal was. If you look real close, that's where the old battery terminal went through. And there's another one's up there, two more up there. I'm not sure what that second hole was. Maybe that was their first attempt at drilling it. But and then the other thing is, if you look down here, you can see where the old hold downs were, actually went through the car. So later when I finish this up, before I go to put the carpet back in, hopefully by then I'll know where the oh, what do you call that, seam sealer. Hopefully I'll find it by then. If not, I'll just, you know, order a couple tubes. But definitely want to get this area nice and cleaned up and safe, so that we don't get any rust. You know, definitely don't want rust in the area. All right. Well, finally, after taking the front of the car apart and then putting the front of the car back together somewhat, and then putting the battery back in the trunk, we now have a battery back in the car. The cool part is too, these wires here, they actually go and power all the fuse block and that kind of stuff under the dash. So now it also gives me the ability to start doing diagnostics and figure out what circuit goes where and what circuit does what. So that's kind of important too. One step at a time, you know, that's just what it is. Get one thing done, move to the next kind of thing. I did get the positive battery terminal cable in this morning. I'm still waiting on the negative. So I think what my plan is I want to take the rest of the interior out of the car, take the rear seat out, take the carpet out, and then what I'm thinking I want to do is actually run the battery cables through the car, and then under the carpet next to the trans tunnel, kind of the way, you know, you would expect it to go, and then basically come up the trans tunnel and then dip out through some grommets with some silicone around them or seam sealer or whatever, to seal them up real nice. And then those will actually go and bolt to the starter and the motor. So that'll give you a good positive and negative, and that we can work off of. So, but I need to check that out, see if that's the direction I want to go, or maybe I do like they did and then just go underneath the car. However, I don't like that. There's fuel, there's exhaust, there's very low car to the ground, not a lot of places to secure it to. So, you know, we'll see what it looks like. Anyways, all right, guys, let's get on to the next thing, which I don't know what that is. So give me a minute. Let me see what parts I have, see what direction I want to go into now, and then I'll get back with you. All right, got the back seats out. As you can see, they are pretty hammered. The frames actually don't look bad at all. The burlap, honestly, I haven't seen burlap done in modern redoing of seats. So that's kind of interesting. It's hard to tell how old these actually are. If I had to guess, I'd say maybe they're like an 80s redone. And what they did was they just left the old padding and backing, and this one even has insulation stuck in it. This is like the insulation that you would find in the floor, which is interesting. Maybe that's the way they came, I don't know. But I hate taking back seats out. You know how the stupid clip goes on the bottom seat. You're fighting it, kicking it. You know what it looks like, and so you're trying to do the motion, and it just don't want to do the motion. And then finally, when you're just about ready to give up and your elbows popped like 3 times, then it finally pops undone. But the seats are in good shape. I'm going to keep them, but they're not going to go back into this car because the front seats are a more modern seat by TWI or TI. I forgot the name of that company. I guess they're pretty common out there in the industry. You see them. The only thing I don't like about these seats, let me see, where's the stupid, right on the side of it, TMI, sure, TMI, I don't know. You know, I guess they want to be like Recaro, so they just embroidered TMI on the side of the seat. I don't know. It is a nice seat though, so comfortable. It fits the build. It's got a classic but modern kind of look to it. I like it. I think it fits the car real well. They make that same seat look and feel and everything for the back, so I'm going to order that up. Not too expensive. If I remember right, it was like $1,500 or something. So a little pricey, but you got to remember, you're getting everything. You're getting the springs, you're getting the material, you're getting the foam, you're getting the whole seat. You just pop it in. So these are still good. I'll hang on to these. It's getting to the point now where I got enough Camaro parts where I could probably build another Camaro. So that's kind of cool. Maybe I'll just order one of those shells off of Summit, put together another Camaro. That'd be kind of cool. So I got some of the interior torn apart, looking to see how I'm going to run the battery cable. Unfortunately, I only got the positive cable today. I don't have the negative cable, so a little bit of a drawback. It's getting pretty late in the day, so that's okay. Hopefully the negative cable shows up tomorrow, because tomorrow I'll want to start running the positive cable. I think I have the routing. Let me show you where I want to run this. So as you can see, this car's got Dynamat in it. It's pretty done up. I can tell you it's very quiet. Now, one of the things that we had a problem with early on was there was a banging noise in the back. But when I took that back seat apart, come to find out, the pump for the electric top was completely loose and banging around in that hole. Surprised the fittings aren't leaking, and everything still works, to be honest with you. It's got one little rubber bumpy on this side and 2 on this side. This one was actually attached. The 2 on this side were not, so the whole thing was just bang, 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 bang. Every time we'd hit a bump, it sounded like the exhaust was going to fall off. Well, there you go. Got a big electric pump in the back just banging around, so that was a problem. Fix that up. I need to put the little clippy doohickey back in here. They had that connector on the other side. I'm gonna get hurt. I'm gonna get hurt. Oh, nope, I didn't get hurt. Man, got lucky. Yeah, they had the connector on this side of it, and it was pulled so tight. That wire was pulled so tight. I can't believe it didn't break, you know? That's the way it should be, like that. Of course, I'll fix that little loop-de-loop on that side. It's got plenty on this side. It's not pulled tight. These are a little taut, but that's okay. They look to be okay. I think I'm going to put a little bit of tape in here, that soft tape, to keep them from eating through. You know, somebody used a little bit of the Gorilla tape over there. So my plan is to, right where this harness comes through, because these are those wires that we were looking at there in the back. Looks like there's 3 in here now, so it gained one from somewhere. But those are the wires that are coming in from the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slightly enlarge this hole. Sorry, my finger's all in the way. So I'm just going to take that hole right there, and I'm just going to make that just a little bit bigger so I can get 2 battery cables through there. I'm going to run them side by side all the way there. They'll come down, drop into this quarter panel. Sorry, trying to get the gimbal to act right. They'll drop down into this quarter panel here, and then right here. Now again, I'm pretty new to Camaros and Chevrolets and stuff. I like this. I'm pretty sure that if I take this off, underneath of there is a nice spot for the wiring to run. So that's where the cables are going to go through. And that runs all the way up to the front of the car, as you can see up here. And so my plan is to right up here, I'm going to go through the firewall, which is right up there in that corner, out of the way. You won't be able to see anything. I'm going to go right through the firewall there with the 2 positive and negative. Of course, you know, grommets and whatnot, and then seal it. I don't know if I can't really show you, but up underneath here, the drain line for the air conditioner, they just blew a hole in the floor and stuck the line down. You can see the light all the way around it. So that would have been awesome. Driving cross country, get a little bit of rain, and then all of a sudden your passenger feet are just soaked because somebody couldn't use a little bit of silicone. That's why when I put the shifter hole in, I made it as tight to the shifter as I could without it actually touching. It's got a little gap all the way around it. Now, if the transmission moves, which it will, it won't bang on the floor because there is like I think there's like maybe 1/4 inch on this side, 1/8 inch on this side, but there's a gap all the way around. That way you don't get the exhaust fumes and air and everything else coming up through the floor. So, and if you look across the car, right over here, you can see where you know, that's where that vent goes, right there in that hole, right there. So, right in there is where I'm gonna mount the computer, PCM, ECM, ECU, whatever you want to call it. That's where I'm gonna mount it. So I'm also gonna be custom making a mount that goes in there. The wires will come down from the top of it, dip behind it, plug in, and it'll sit flush in there. That way the speaker can go back on, which is in that hole right there. The vent is the only thing that won't work because the computer will be there. Nobody ever uses those vents anyway, especially this car has air conditioning. You roll the windows down. If you're that hot, put the top down, you know, or put the top up, turn the AC on. So anyways, that's the plan. That's what I've got laid out. So I think that we got a good direction now of where we want to go with this car. So I think we got a lot done. We got a good direction on where we want to go with the power. I'm glad we got that solved. You know, something as easy as just putting a battery in a car turns into this, you know, big ordeal. Wanted to put it back in the front where it belongs. Didn't work out that way. But we do have room now for that really awesome overflow. So, which I think I'm gonna talk to the powder coater and powder coat it black. I'm gonna hang it first, make sure it all fits right and everything. Take a look at it and see what it looks like. If it looks, I don't know if it'll look bad. The problem is it's brushed aluminum, then you have polished and you have chrome and black throughout the engine bay. It kind of sticks out because it's this different texture, different sheen. Anyways, we'll see what it looks like though. I'll put it on. I got to mount it up first before powder coat it anyways. Mount it up, see what it looks like, and then make a decision there, what we should do on that. So I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. I'm trying to keep these episodes a little bit shorter because they are getting kind of long and out of control. I realize you guys don't want to sit there for an hour and a half and watch me talk and work on 3 things, because that's the way it goes with a car like this. Unfortunately, it's not very fast going. It's more of a slower pace because you're trying to figure things out. You're fixing things along the way. You know, only getting 5 of the 6 bolts in your hold down for your battery. I'll just put a little silicone over the hole. No big deal. But thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe. Remember, you know, everything that I'm doing here, all the money that I put out to do this is all out of my pocket right now, just to try and give you guys, you know, some entertainment and some content. So keep that in mind when you, you know, when you're clicking that button or not clicking that button. You know, it's free to click subscribe. You know, you don't even have to click the thumbs up. Just the subscribe would help me out immensely. It really kind of gives me the willpower to keep going, to keep doing this. It gets a little frustrating sometimes doing the channel because it does take up so much time doing this side of it. It takes away time from actually working on the car. But anyways, I appreciate all of you guys for watching. Thank you so very much. And as always, until next time.